I smelled the smell. You know that familiar smell of something burning in your car? I looked in the rear view mirror and then in the side view mirror only to find that the car I was driving, well, there was smoke coming out of the back of it. Now, here was the problem. We were not in the United States. As a matter of fact, we had just landed in the country of Ireland and just pulled out of the airport with our rental car. It was a 5-speed clutch, but I grew up driving a clutch, so that wasn't the problem. As we got onto one of the hills, the car basically stopped. I had to put the brake on so it didn't roll back when I suddenly realized the issue was the clutch, and I was only 5 minutes away from the airport. I got us moving a little bit more and basically came around one of the roundabouts and wound up in a neighborhood. It was a Sunday. I was in a foreign neighborhood, in a foreign country, with a broken down car from a foreign airport. We pulled up to the side of the street and I tried to keep from blocking any of the driveways. We were sitting there for a moment and we were starting to look for the paperwork and make some phone calls. People suddenly started to come out to look at who these unknown folks were, especially not from their parts, that were in their neighborhood. Suddenly, this one lady comes up and she motioned for me to wind the window down a little further. And I said, "Yes, ma'am." And in her Irish accent, she asked me if everything was okay. And I said, "Well, no, ma'am, it's not. We have a little bit of a problem. This is a rental car, and apparently there's something wrong with the clutch. So we're going to have the car towed." And she said, "Well, do you need to use the bathroom? Or do you need anything to eat or drink?" And I said, "No, ma'am, thank you. They'll be here in a little bit." So Pam and I continued to wait. Suddenly, within about 15 minutes, this lady came out with a tray. It had orange juice, other drinks, cookies, cake, and offered it to us. And we said thank you, and took it graciously. And then she went back in. About 10 minutes later, another person came out and said, "Is everything all right?" And I said, "Well, no, we're waiting." And told him the story too. And he says, "Do you need to use the restroom?" And I said, "No, sir, but thank you." Suddenly, we began to realize that we were in a foreign country, but not one of these people were a threat. As a matter of fact, they all greeted us with such hospitality. It was incredible. Finally, the elderly woman came back out with her husband. This time they invited us in, and we realized it was going to be a while. We knew we were safe, and as we went in and sat down, I found out that he had just finished church that day, and he was going back that evening because he was a pastor. We continued to talk, shared with one another, got to know them a little bit, exchanged some pleasantries, exchanged our contact information, thanked them very much, made a donation for them to take to their church, and once the tow truck came, we left. I've thought a lot about that trip. I thought about what it means to make a difference in the life of someone else. So often we're looking to make some huge impact, some large footprint in the world, when often we have opportunity every day just to make a difference of the people that are put in our path. Oh yes, you've got to be careful. You've got to be, as the scriptures say, wise as a serpent and harmless as a dove. But there are people that you come in contact with every day that are put in your path, that it may just be a simple act of kindness or gesture that can make all the difference. I don't know about you, but that makes me feel better about life, because all of us have the opportunity to make a small difference every single day.